Welcome to the show. Hope you had a great weekend. What a weekend it was. This weekend, the country saw it might be the largest one-day protest of Trump's presidency, dating all the way back to the first little period of the first term. Possibly millions of people across 50 states and even internationally. And the message was quite simple at most of the protests, some of them kind of being hijacked, but the protest message overall was hands off our rights, hands off our institutions, hands off of our democracy, and hands off as in get Elon Musk's hands off of the government. And this was not only about Trump and Elon Musk, who, by the way, now leads this Orwellian Doge, which in practice is going to be winding down, I guess, but at least Elon Musk is leaving, but we don't really know. But they've been slashing federal agencies, gutting public services, and of course, concentrating even more power in the hands of billionaires and even an unelected billionaire. We've seen the deep agency cuts, and we've seen the chaotic immigration raids, also a target of these protests. And we've seen attempts to roll back LGBTQ plus rights with a lot of focus on that T, trans rights, harmful changes to Social Security, to Medicare, obvious attempts to gut Medicaid. And then, of course, in the midst of all of this, the new global tariffs causing this economic upheaval. Thursday and Friday, two of the biggest consecutive stock market decline days as I am taping today. We have a Dow Jones Industrial Average that is down, another 300 points. We'll see where it ends up landing. So that another focus of these protests. And then the broader authoritarian direction of this administration, the deportations without due process, and all of it. So the great news is that these were not fringe protests. This was over 150 different organizations, civil rights groups, labor unions, various LGBT rights organizations, environmentalists, coordinating protests in more than 1,300 locations. Of course, huge rallies in major cities, DC, Minneapolis, as Trump calls it, Boston, Portland, San Diego, countless others. Now, I write in my book, The Echo Machine, now a New York Times bestseller. And by the way, I'm not patting myself on the back. When I say that, I'm patting you on the back. I'm humbled that you all made it a New York Times bestseller instantly. In The Echo Machine, there's a reason I write that authoritarians fear mass rallies in urban centers. It's because these urban centers are what we might call visibility machines. They concentrate attention. They inspire copycats in a positive sense, and they force corporate media, and by extension, they force the public to notice that this is going on. Movements have gained legitimacy in history because they were seen. And there is really no better stage than a packed city square. And as we look back, as I do in the book, the civil rights movement didn't succeed just because of backroom policy debates. The civil rights movement, to a degree, succeeded because people filled the streets. And yes, of course, it also succeeded on the back of incremental change and presidents who appointed certain Supreme Court justices. Of course, we understand that as well. The anti-Vietnam War movement, the George Floyd protests, a lot of these movements started with rallies just like the ones we saw this weekend. You could even argue that the Arab Spring started with massive symbolic gatherings in the urban cores of society. That is how momentum is built. So we saw 30,000 people in Boston. We saw 100,000 people in DC, 25,000 in Minneapolis. Elected officials showed up. I saw our friend Jamie Raskin deliver a great speech in DC. Protesters marched in cities, yes, but also in suburbs, in rural areas, internationally, in Berlin, Paris, London, Ottawa, Lisbon. So what's most important is that these were not top-down protests. They were organized organically, neighbors, friends, coworkers. That's really what grassroots looks like. And, I got a few emails over the weekend from people saying, David, I saw this one rally taken over by the wokesters. You know, someone wrote to me and said that, or another one said the rally was taken over only by anti-Israeli sentiment and it started to feel anti-Semitic. Listen, anecdotally, that stuff happened and I warned about that. Overall, these were really broad, mostly inclusive rallies. And it was a statement, it was a warning, and it really follows a pattern that I talk about often, which is that when people feel like the normal political system has been hijacked, they go outside into the streets, into the parks, on social media as well, into the public square, and it gets attention. This is just the beginning, right? This is like when some of you wrote in and said, you know, Cory Booker's 25-hour filibuster speech, what not really a filibuster because it wasn't against a specific bill, but 25-hour speech, it was merely performative. Well, it was performative. It wasn't merely performative. The merely will depend on what happens next. And we saw after the Cory Booker speech, now we've seen these protests. Oh, these protests are performative. Well, there is a performance aspect to it. And better performers are more effective at inspiring others to take action. Now let's see what happens as we are close to entering the midterm period. Let's see what happens, but a very good start. After researching, writing, refining, The Echo Machine, my book, is finally out. This is not just a book about how American politics got so broken. It's also about what's happening right now and what we can still do to stop things from getting worse. Trump's been back in power. The results have been even more catastrophic than many feared, with targeting of political opponents and gutting democratic institutions, laying the groundwork to even further consolidate power. But the thing is that none of this is inevitable. The same forces that brought us here can be countered if we understand how they work and what to do about them. And that's what the Echo Machine is all about. Some say that without corporate media backing, books like this can't succeed. I think we can prove them wrong. You can get the Echo Machine right now at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, or by calling any local bookstore and asking them to order it. This book is more important than ever. If you care about what happens next, and I do, check out The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo.